The Red Flat Nickel Corporation has applied to test 59 locations over 4,000 acres on the pristine North Fork of the Smith.
Red Flat Nickel Corporation's mining proposal, that's strip mining. Every type of pollution, every type of impact that you can imagine, you have in abundance with a strip mine. Very, very well documented.
The Riddle Nickel Mine, just east of this proposed location, is now a federal Superfund site.
We're spending millions of dollars per year on cleanup. So tell me, why would we want to put a strip mine upstream of these incredible resources in this prime salmon and steelhead habitat?
Tucked away in the remote corner of northwest California is an astonishing river with a common name, the Smith. The Smith River is named after Jedediah Smith, one of the early fur trappers in America, and also one of the two most prolific explorers of the American West. He and his fur brigade in 1828 left the Bay Area of California and moved north, up through the Sacramento Valley. When he arrived at the Smith River, his horse was washed away beneath him and nearly drowned. So in fact, Jedediah Smith's relationship to the Smith River is simply that he crossed it and was the first European to identify the Smith River.
The Smith River has long been labeled the crown jewel of California's rivers. The federal Wild and Scenic River System was established in, I think, 1964. This is before we were formed. We were just a bunch of guys meeting in a fly shop at that point. When Senator Peter Bear was elected in 1970-71, he proposed to us a state Wild and Scenic River System that would include all of the North Coast rivers. That was the beginning of the protection. We wanted to establish one perfect river for California, where the entire watershed was protected. Everything was as natural as it could be.
So I've been concerned about the Smith River all along as I think about how we've frankly ruined a lot of other rivers and how the Smith is so unique because, well, we haven't screwed it up yet.
Here there are no dams, no mitigating hatcheries. The headwaters have been entirely protected. This river is home to Chinook and coho salmon, coastal cutthroat, and legendary steelhead, sometimes reaching over 25 pounds. Redwoods reach heights of over 370 feet and have been alive since the time of the Roman Empire. These waters originate in the Siskiyou and coastal mountain ranges, where bedrock gorges create hues of water ranging from jade green to sapphire blue.
I mean, I guess first I started hearing about it, and you hear about the big fish, chrome bright, fast-moving beauties that run up the river. That's really what got me into it. What kept me going back to the Smith, it certainly wasn't the fish. It was the river. It's beautiful. It's awesome. It's cool. It's rad. It's everything you want it to be out of a steelhead fishery.
I know why I do it. I do it for the visuals. That's basically why I fish in general. I have a thing for the Smith River, but I was watching this guy go for a couple years. Just, man, where's Chuck? He's gone again. Found out where he was, Smith River. Kept hearing it over and over again. Well, that river's been in my folklore fishing forever. All my mentors were like, that's the cream of the crop. It's the best place.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to just go see it for yourself. It's some of the clearest water I've ever seen. anywhere on the globe.
I grew up in Northern California chasing steelhead all over the little coastal rivers, and there's been nothing that is compared to the Smith River. You'll hear it a lot from local residents that the Smith River doesn't give up its fish easy.
If you can catch a Smith River steelhead, you're doing something right.
You chase them and you chase them, and sometimes I go an entire season without actually holding one. When you do hold one and you release it, instantly you want another one right away. They're just magical. They're gone and they're moving and they're ripping through the water. You get a chance to hold one and it's gone right after that.
Yeah. You go to the Smith River just to hunt steelhead the way it's supposed to be. You know, you're not supposed to go out and catch 20 of them. That shouldn't happen. You should go out and catch a couple and fight all day for a fish. Chance at one.
You can never really plan a day on the Smith River. It's always going to be different. It's always going to be an adventure. And it's never going to be easy.
Around 1850, of course, came the California Gold Rush, and the world along the Smith completely changed. Salt, tin cans, solder, and barrels were shipped up from San Francisco for this incredible harvest of salmon found at the mouth of the Smith River. By 1934, canneries both along the Smith River and just to the south on the Klamath River were declared illegal by the state of California due to overharvest. During the 1940s to 1960s was the golden age of sport angling along the Smith River. The Smith was one of the most renowned steelhead fisheries in the West. Anglers came from all over to fish the incredible waters here. The genetic stock of steelhead on the Smith River result in some of the largest steelhead on the West Coast. Recent regulation changes along the Smith have banned the taking of wild steelhead. This has made a once busy river into a quiet river. Those who want to fish for dinner no longer come to the Smith. They go north to the Chetco or other rivers in Oregon.
We started the DITSON project in 2010. DITSON stands for Dual Frequency Identification Sonar, and it's a multi-beam sonar that operates in dark and turbid rivers and can record fish movement 24/7. The impetus for the project was that we didn't know if we had 3,000 or 30,000 steelhead.
With no data available with regard to the amount of steelhead in the Smith River system, it's difficult to know how to manage the river. The information that Zach and others are collecting has given us concrete numbers of the Smith River steelhead population.
The DITSON technology also gives us an opportunity to monitor basin-wide populations in response to cumulative positive effects from watershed restoration, fish passage projects, in-stream restoration projects, and large-scale land acquisitions. During the course of the study, we estimate the run to be between 10 and 14,000, and it appears to be stable.
The watershed is largely intact. The water quality is excellent. The fishery is kind of a stronghold for salmon and steelhead. And while we put a lot of effort into trying to restore fish in rivers that we have screwed up, I don't think we put nearly enough effort into protecting places that are strongholds. And so that's a concept that I've been working on in Congress is what can we do for salmon strongholds?
I mean, Smith esteemed for high water quality, fabulous, strong salmon trout populations. Private corporations and state funding sources have contributed $80 million for salmon and steelhead habitat restoration and protection in the Smith River Basin. How much sense does it make to locate a strip mine upstream of that investment in this salmon stronghold? Strip mining is the largest source of toxic pollution in the United States, and that's according to EPA. So every type will have devastating impacts on salmon, steelhead, and trout.
So I think a lot of people knew that the Smith River, at least on the California side, was designated wild and scenic, and they just assumed that nothing like a mining threat would ever present itself in the Smith River. And there's been a lot of surprise and concern that this proposal has happened on the Oregon side under our very arcane and antiquated mining laws that basically allow at virtually no cost folks that hold mining claims to do all sorts of damage if we don't stop them. So that's what was the wake-up call to a lot of us, and we have gone to work trying to withdraw this area from both BLM lands and Forest Service lands from any kind of mining claims permanently. That is the goal.
The story of the protection of the North Coast rivers, including the Smith and finally its national recreation status, was a real David and Goliath operation. It's political. You have to get a large segment of the population behind you. There has to be a general environmental interest in the population. We had those things, and we had the persistence, and we finally pushed it through.
Instead of always playing catch up to the latest threat that emerges on a place like the Smith River, we have to get out ahead of this. We have to start identifying the rivers and the watersheds and the estuaries that are critical, that currently have strong salmon and steelhead populations, and put protections in place proactively rather than addressing threats on a piecemeal kind of basis. That's what my salmon stronghold legislation will attempt to do.
The Smith River has become the poster child for how, with forward thinking and by dint of hard work, an entire watershed can be protected.
Well, you know, we're in the business of free-flowing rivers, and it's been said in history that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. We'll always have organizations, individuals, companies, interests that will want to extract the values of the Smith River National Recreation Area. We just have to be there all the time, armed and ready.
As the great conservationist David Brower put it, all victories are temporary and all defeats permanent. Along the Smith, the question remains, when is protection protection?